again. The latest model has a larger screen with slimmer bezels, a larger keyboard, and a sleeker design. On their own, those aren't exactly life-changing upgrades, but taken as a whole, they make the XPS 13 feel even more refined than before. You could say it's more perfect than perfect. Then again, I shouldn't be too surprised. Only a few months after I reviewed the XPS 13 in 2019, I saw its even more stylish 2-in-1 sibling. Aside from a shallower and controversial keyboard, that convertible was actually better than the standard model in many ways. So it was only a matter of time until Dell brought those design upgrades over to its traditional Ultra Portable. So what's different? The most obvious upgrade is that Dell has completely gotten rid of the XPS 13's lower screen bezel. Now the display nearly touches the edge of the keyboard area, and there's no more Dell logo in the way. That effectively gives the computer a slightly taller 13.4-inch screen with a 16:10 aspect ratio. While it's not quite the extra tall 3:2 ratio we've seen on Microsoft Surface laptops, the extra screen space is enough to make working on the notebook a bit more freeing. And it's worth noting that Microsoft's machines still can't match the ultra-thin bezels of Dell's Infinity Edge displays. The XPS 13's 91.5% screen-to-body ratio is also impressive, and it even manages to outdo HP's ultra-sleek Spectre X360. The XPS isn't nearly as flashy as the Spectre, but I actually prefer Dell's understated design. Additionally, Dell has also pushed the keyboard to the edges of the XPS 13 and made the keycaps 9% larger, both of which make for a much more comfortable typing experience. Thankfully, you won't find the maglev keyboard from the 2-in-1 model, which was a not-so-great way of adding feedback to that laptop's shallow keyboard. I didn't mind it, but a lot of other people did. Instead, Dell stuck with the scissor switch key design the XPS 13 is known for. While it doesn't have the luxuriously deep key travel of the Spectre X360, it still felt better than most Ultrabook offerings. The XPS 13's trackpad is also 17% larger than before, and it feels just as smooth and accurate as the last model. And as you'd expect, the laptop's aluminum case is as sturdy as ever, and this year it feels even smoother to the touch. Once again, you can choose from black carbon fiber or Arctic white color options. They both look and feel great, but I prefer the slick woven glass fiber of the white design. I also appreciated smaller refinements, like the way the hinge barrels are hidden from view, giving the screen more of a dominating presence. In practice, using the new XPS 13 felt a lot like the 2-in-1, except without the ability to twist the screen around. That extra tall display still looks fantastic, and its HDR and Dolby Vision compatibility makes it perfect for Netflix binges. It's slightly lighter than the 2-in-1, between 2.64 pounds and 2.8, though you'd have to forego the touchscreen to really feel the difference. The XPS 13 is also fast enough to handle all of your productivity needs while you're trapped at home devouring YouTube videos. Our review unit came with Intel's 10th gen Core i7 1065G7 CPU and 16GB of RAM, a beefy mid-range setup that currently sells for $1,750. The XPS 13 starts at $999, but that model comes with depressingly low specs: a Core i3 processor, 4GB of RAM, and 256GB of SSD storage. At the time of this review, that model is also unavailable on Dell's website, so we'd recommend going with the 1250 configuration to get 8GB of RAM. And honestly, it's about time Dell gave up on offering a meager 4GB of RAM on any computer, let alone its flagship notebook, especially when you can't upgrade it down the line. On a brighter note, the XPS 13 survived my daily workflow, which typically involved juggling dozens of browser tabs, photo editing, video streaming, and a bit of audio recording, without any issues. The system also lasted up to 15 hours and 55 minutes during our battery test, which typically involves looping an HD video without any energy-saving measures turned on. That's a solid leap over the previous model's 12.5 hours of battery life, and it even outdoes the 2-in-1 by 90 minutes. And while you wouldn't want to buy an Ultra Portable with gaming in mind, Intel's 10th gen Iris Plus integrated graphics can eke out some playable Overwatch in 720p with low settings. Just don't expect consistent frame rates. It's more suited to slower games like Minecraft and The Sims or visual novels. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to try an external GPU on the XPS 13's two USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports, but that's certainly an option if you want to balance portability and gaming performance at home. And while I would have liked to see a full-sized SD card reader, the microSD slot is better than nothing. While Dell didn't exactly revolutionize anything with this year's XPS 13, it's still a huge leap forward from the 2019 model in many ways. The company's Infinity Edge bezel-less screen continues to get more impressive, and every upgrade, like that extra wide keyboard, feels genuinely meaningful. Once again, Dell has made the ultra portable to beat.